While the graphics department is preparing for election night by creating XPression templates for use with Elect-It, producers can on the other side also be preparing for the election night by preparing the data and the placeholders for the different elections or races that will be occurring in a given election. To start with, I'm going to be showing you how in our main dashboard we create an election from scratch. So this would be an example where we're not using election services such as DDHQ or AP elections. I've clicked on my election module here and it brings me to existing election contests that we've had. So here of course we can see New Hampshire primaries, Super Tuesday. These are events that are already here. If I'm manually creating an election though, I can actually click on the new and create a new election. Now, not to confuse it with Super Tuesday, I'm going to give this a fictitious name. So this will be Danny's election. And key to any election is to actually set a date for it. So once I've done that and I have this as a placeholder, I can now actually start adding different contests that appear in this election. So Super Tuesday, if you needed to add multiple areas, we're now prepared to do so. Election is created and I want to create a new race. I can simply click again and add new, where we're now going to fill in the different areas. So whether it was Super Tuesday, we're picking Arkansas or various places. I'm just going to fictitiously pick Florida, and the office that we're running here in Danny's election is going to be the sheriff's office. I can now save that contest, and what Elect-It immediately does is it allows me to start entering candidates that are competing for this particular office. So again, adding candidates, I can select new, slide in my name as a possible candidate. I can actually set some party affiliations. Now my system already has some parties listed in there. But if I wanted to create a brand new party, because this is a blank system, I can simply give it a party name. I'm going to use AB so that we can identify it easily later. But of course, you would put something more practical: Republican, Democrat, Independent. Any of these can be listed here. I can select also, of course, a headshot at this point and manually add headshots individually by either uploading a file or selecting any existing headshots that might be in my system. I'm going to leave the sample without headshots. We're going to see how to import some additional ones in a moment. But what I would like to do is simply add this particular candidate. And you see that we now have a placeholder for a single candidate, and I can continue adding candidates relative to this particular election race. When I'm finished adding candidates, I can simply save that race. And what we'll see is now this sheriff's entry or contest is available in Danny's election. I can continue doing so now and building out the different offices. To have a look at what something like that would actually look like, let's look at one that we've already populated. So for example, if we look at the recent Kentucky race, only has the 2 contests in it. But if we dive into the contests, we can actually see we have the candidates' names, their party affiliation, as well as a headshot associated with it. Now, once we're got some candidates and some parties that we've added to the list. In our elections module, if we wanted to add some further details, we can go into our customize button. This isn't necessary to do right away, but it gets kind of handy to add things like, for example, party colors. You can see in our customize section, we can here clean up events. So if I have election events that I've created for practice purposes, I can delete or remove them from here. What I wanted to show in particular is, of course, under the parties here, and if we go to, of course, Danny's election, what we can actually see is the party that we created, the fictitious AB. But with that party now, I can actually assign some properties, such as party color, possibly even a party logo to it. The advantages to actually filling out some of these things will appear on election night when Elect-It is presenting results and live data coming in. Party colors can show different charts and gives our election analysts a very easy way to determine what's going on. So all of that can be done in Elect-It. Again, if you don't have an automated feed, this is how we are creating elections manually. In the case where we have larger elections, such as Super Tuesday, where there are a significant increase in number of races that are going on simultaneously from different states. Importing headshots manually, one at a time, can be quite tedious. And to solve this problem, Elect-It has a headshot importing tool. Seen here on the left, the headshot importing tool allows me to select a folder where I have stored headshots or images of my various candidates. I can select then which election I would like to apply these headshot contestants to. On the right hand side, you'll actually see the folder which my headshot importer has been pointed to. And the key here that you see is there is a naming convention for the candidate images, and that is where we put the last name, underscore first name, underscore party affiliation. By doing so, the headshot importer, when I import the headshots, will actually run through the list and then assign the headshots to the different candidates that we have for those given elections. This saves you having to do this one at a time and can be done in batches. And then, of course, if there's errors in importing them or the names don't match, the headshot importer will generate a report for you so that way you can double check manually to make sure that you have candidate headshots for each name back within Flow. Once we've run the headshot importer tool, we can review the results by coming back to our elections tab and confirming that all the headshots have actually been imported. If there are any errors that are reported from the headshot importer when it ran, we can definitely go directly to those candidates, possibly manually add that particular headshot, because of course some of the last names or first names that have two parts to it can sometimes be confusing for the headshot importer tool, and then basically generates an exception. Now that we have, of course, as I said, information for the candidates entered into our system, and we described as well adding color, if you will, to the different parties. In doing so, what it allows me to see is under the results tab, a lot more of a visual representation for what's going on election night. So not only do I have, of course, all of the candidates entered with their affiliations, but if we're looking at, for example, any one of our candidates here, we can dive or drill further into the election results. We can actually see the party colors. It's also represented here as a snapshot at the top for us, so depending on who's in front, these visual aids will help you identify those candidates.